Good morning, Shakespeare students. I hope everybody had a good first day of digital learning. This is Louis. He needs to be groomed badly. Alright guys, so yesterday you were supposed to read Act II, Scene 1 of Othello. And so let's talk just a little bit about Act II, Scene 1. First of all, it starts in Cyprus, and Montano, the governor, is very concerned. You'd think he wouldn't be too upset, considering the people we're concerned about include a guy who's supposed to take his job, Othello. But the general idea is that Othello is so well respected that Montano doesn't even care. He's perfectly happy with Othello showing up and taking over his job. Montano's highly respected, and he's supposed to be a little bit young. In any case, the first ship to show up, they're hoping it's Othello, but it's not. It's Desdemona and Iago. What's weird about that is that they left the next day. So Cassio and Othello were closer to this terrible storm. In any case, even though they left a day later, and they brought all of Othello's stuff and his directions from the Venetian government, they made it there before. So this is bad news. Okay, it seems like maybe something happened to Othello's ship and Cassio's ship. So Othello is still out on the sea somewhere. Desdemona comes ashore. The next ship to show up is Cassio's. And so everybody's happy that Cassio's safe. And he says that he doesn't know what happened to Othello's boat. Something kind of strange then happens. There's a conversation with Cassio, Iago, Emilia, who is Iago's wife, and Desdemona. During this scene, Desdemona starts questioning Iago about his thoughts concerning women. And he starts making jokes and really lets us know that he doesn't respect women much. In fact, he's talking about women, and he says that a beautiful woman can accomplish great things because she will use her beauty and or sexuality to get everything she wants. And he says that ugly women will use the same tricks on different men. And so Desdemona goes on to say, well, what about women who are both beautiful and intelligent? Anyway, he continues on with all these funny sayings, and Desdemona gets a real kick out of it. She's laughing, and she keeps reminding everybody that she's laughing, but she's still worried about Othello. And so we see a little bit of her immaturity during this scene. She is young, and she's not 100% over-the-top concerned about Othello, which is not a good sign. Anyway, Othello shows up. And so what this scene shows us is two things. One, that Desdemona is a little immature, and number two, that Iago doesn't really have respect for women. And he tells it kind of as a joke, but that's going to come back and bite him later. Anyway, so when Othello shows up, he says, hey, I was out there, I saw the Turkish fleet destroyed, it's over. We're done, let's have a party. So they declare that they're going to have a party, okay? Now we're getting into kind of the next day's reading, because at this party, which is two things, it's a celebration that they defeated the Turks, and it's basically Othello's wedding celebration. Remember, they got married, but didn't get to have a honeymoon, didn't even get to have a wedding night, because Othello had to leave that night. This is really important, because they weren't able to consummate their marriage. This is going to come up a lot, and if you don't know what consummate means, you should look it up on your own. But they had no chance, so they have a big party. Now, at this party, Iago has a plan, and he has Rodrigo with him. Remember, Rodrigo sold everything he owned, so he's got money to finance all of Iago's plans. At this party, they're going to try to get Cassio to drink. Cassio tells us that he is a lightweight. He cannot drink without getting intoxicated really bad. And Othello tells Cassio that he needs to remember he's a soldier first, and he needs to be on the watch tonight, so don't party too hard. So Othello leaves early because he and Desdemona haven't had an evening together yet. Iago's able to get Cassio to drink a little bit. Gets him singing some songs, joking around, having fun. Cassio says some things that are very offensive to Iago, joking around about how he's the lieutenant and stuff, and Iago's not, which just fans the flame, because that's why Iago's mad in the first place. In any case, so Iago gets Cassio drunk, and then he goes out on the watch. So he's doing a job, but he's intoxicated now. Rodrigo comes in and gets into a fight with Cassio. Gets him screaming and yelling. In the meantime, Iago has a conversation with Montano, a very respected person. Obviously, he was the governor. And he's like, man, Cassio is a great guy. I just wish he wasn't always drunk. Well, Cassio's never drunk. It was only Iago who made it happen. But what's interesting about this is that perception is reality. And so, if you don't know anything else, and someone tells you something, and you see some evidence immediately that backs it up, you believe it. And so, Cassio never drinks. He's not a drunk. But on the first day Montano meets him, Cassio is drunk. And Iago says, yes, he's drunk every day. So he believes it. So when Cassio comes running in, chasing Rodrigo, fighting with him, Montano tries to step in and stop it from happening. Cassio gets mad at him because he calls him a drunk, and he starts attacking Montano. Othello's evening gets ruined because they start ringing all the bells that there's things going on. Othello has to leave Desdemona, which is important because, once again, their consummation has been interrupted. This is going to come up later because Othello can't be sure that Desdemona's a virgin because he's not been with her. So, anyway, Othello comes out, breaks up the fight, and wants to know who did what. Well, when nobody can give him a clear answer, he turns to honest Iago, the one person he can really trust. And Iago acts like it is so hard for him to say that it was indeed Michael Cassio. And so he turns and, Michael Cassio, you're fired. It's over. Well, this is good news for Iago, but horrible for Cassio. Well, everybody goes home and leaves, and Cassio's left with Iago. And Cassio's now completely sober. And Iago's like, listen, he just had to do that. Montano's an important guy. You kind of cut him up a little bit. And so what you should do is get your job back. You know that he still loves you. He just had to do something for public opinion. And so he says what you should do is talk to Desdemona about it. She will make sure that you get your job back. You know that men are ruled by the women they love. And he says that Iago will talk to Emilia, who is Desdemona's waiting woman. She's right there with her all the time, and set up a secret meeting. And ensure that Othello won't walk in on it. But of course Iago will make sure that Othello does walk in on it, because his new plan is to convince Othello that there's something going on between Cassio and Desdemona. And so those seeds will be planted. Anyway, well, a lot of people took their quiz yesterday. A lot of people did their work, got it turned in. You got to keep up with the play. You can't fall behind because it's going to be too much to make up all at once. Take advantage. I put a LibriVox recording link. Take advantage of that. Or download the free audiobook.com app. You can plug it in and listen while you read, but you really have to also watch No Fear Shakespeare, because if the interpretation's too much and you don't really understand what's going on, then what's the point? Anyway, we've got one more day tomorrow until spring break. So get your work done, get it turned in, keep up with your reading, and I'll see you guys soon.